How do you start to heal from infidelity? This question wasn't even remotely on my radar until the day that I had to answer it for myself. Almost 8 years ago, my life changed forever, the day that I decided to jump out of a perfectly good plane. Now, before you think I'm about to tell you some cool skydiving story, it's not that. The reason my life changed forever is because of what my wife told me afterwards when I arrived home. She disclosed to me that she had been unfaithful in our marriage. That moment thrust me into a painful, confusing hallway where I was forced to make a choice that everybody facing the aftermath of infidelity has to make. In this video, I'm going to share my story and the 3 crucial discoveries that gave me the strength to move forward and begin my healing journey, focusing on what healing looks like for you, getting in your bunker, and accepting that no one heals alone. I remember exactly where I was sitting on our white IKEA couch in the living room when she shared this with me. As you can imagine, my world flipped upside down. Initially, it was a mixture of shock and disbelief because we had dated for 6 years. We were just a couple years into our marriage. We'd been deeply enjoying life together, and I didn't even have a category for the words that were coming out of her mouth. What added to the blindsided feeling was the betrayal being with a friend of mine. That further contributed to the layers of hurt and complexity in all of it. As I began to process, there were a few things that I began to connect different as I looked back over the last month or so. Instances that were just slightly abnormal, but I had shrugged off now began to replay in my mind from a different lens. It's like someone had lifted these ignorantly blissful but foggy glasses off my face, and I saw moments that I thought were a memory between us, but it was actually just me, because she was off with someone else in her mind and heart. After she shared this, I didn't really say much in response. I'm not one to blow up and explode. I just go quiet and I retreat, which is exactly what I did. I was able to go through the motions on the outside, but on the inside I began to crumble, trying to logically make sense of what was happening and understand the confusing and wide range of emotions that were coming at me. I was confused. I didn't know anything at the time about betrayal trauma or attachment wounds that would explain the flood of emotions. We're going to get to that later in the video. There was a deep shame and embarrassment. I felt like an idiot. I wasn't smart enough to see what was going on right in front of me. And not only this, but I had judged my quiet reaction as weak and wondered if I wasn't man enough for her, and that's why she became more interested in somebody else. I felt devalued as a person. I wasn't valuable enough to make a better decision. The shame led to anger at her and the other guy. There were a number of instances happening in my life and others around me that had led me to say, everything else is a roller coaster, but at least I have my marriage. And now there was a quiet, seething anger because of that. As a person of faith, I was angry at God for this. After feeling like I had tried my best to be a husband that honored him and made him proud, I wondered where he was in all of it. I look back on that period of time and those initial moments of recovery and just remember being lost, no idea what to do. If you find yourself watching this, perhaps this is where you are. Maybe you recently found out and your world has been flipped upside down. Perhaps you're the one who made these choices that you can't take back, and now you're attempting to put your world and marriage back together, but you're unsure of where to begin. From whichever side you find yourself watching today, I truly hate that your journey has led you here. And I wish that I could rewind time and give you the chance to avoid this suffering. But I also want you to know, as someone who is almost 8 years removed from that moment, that this does not have to be the end. And as painful as this probably is to hear, I believe God wants to be in it with you. You may doubt He exists or could possibly be good because nothing feels good right now. But that is why I want to share that there is a way out of the pain you are in. There's a way to start to heal, steps to propel you forward wherever you are. You might not be able to see a way out, but I and so many others are living proof that what feels like the end can actually be the beginning of something new and different and far better. And before you write me off, let me tell you why I believe that and what you can do to start to heal today. In those initial months after recovery, I came across a concept that I felt so clearly described where I was and where you might be too. And it was the psychological concept of liminal space. It's a transitional state in life between where you are and where you're going. Liminal space is a season of life where you have left point A behind and you're headed to point B, but you're kind of stuck in this in-between. It's like being in a hallway and you've stepped into the hallway. You can't go back through the door behind you, but you're also not at the other end of the hallway, and you might not even be sure of what the other end looks like. Recovering from an affair requires facing a season of liminal space. You or someone else's choice to have an affair has thrust you into this hallway because you cannot rewind time. You can't go back to what was. The door has been closed. Even if it's a secret that you carry that has yet to be disclosed, the season of life that existed prior to the affair is over. It's done. In those initial few months of discovery, I came across a quote that describes what liminal space feels like. It's from a book called Leadership Pain, and Samuel Chan, the author, writes this. He says, "It's hell in the hallway." It's hell in the hallway. And you know this already. In that liminal space hallway of recovery, there are times, days, weeks where it feels like hell. Maybe that's where you are. You're right in the thick of it. It's fresh, it's raw. You're barely keeping your head above water, or you feel as if you are drowning. If you find yourself in this hallway, or this describes you in any way, the terrifying question I faced, and I'd pose to you today to help you start to heal, is this: what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Not what did your spouse do, or what do they continue to do, but as excruciating as it can be and as unfair as it feels, what are you going to do in response to it? Because of the debilitating pain we've either experienced or caused, what we tend to want to do is avoid doing anything at all, to stay stagnant. And that's understandable. I mean, who wants to walk towards the immense pain of this? And so we blame and we numb and we run and we avoid and we scroll and we cross our fingers that it'll go away. But when we do this, we don't realize we're either choosing to do something by taking action, or we're choosing inaction by doing nothing. But both are still a choice with major implications in your life. I became obsessed with two outlets shortly after discovery: travel and CrossFit. Travel gave me an opportunity to truly escape normal life and put my attention out into the world around me. CrossFit provided the chance to be in so much pain physically that I could not think about my pain emotionally. I remember moments where I would be in the gym and just completely forget about infidelity because I was literally just trying to survive the next 10 minutes of my life. Both were great outlets. Traveling gave me space to eventually process some things, and working out was mentally beneficial. They might have been slight forms of escapism, but I share them because neither were actually doing or starting the healing journey. Think about it this way. Let's say I invite you on a trip with a few friends, and I say we're leaving in a month, and you tell me you're not sure if you can go, but you'll let me know in a few weeks. So I check in again in 2 weeks, and you're still unable to decide if you're gonna go or not. So I check in with 1 week to go. You still don't know. You're trying to figure out the details. Eventually, it'll be the day to go when we show up on your doorstep to pick you up on the way out of town. If you're still undecided, by the fact that the trip is about to begin, your inability to make a choice is now making a choice for you because the trip is happening with or without you. The same is true of your life. Sitting down in the hellish hallway and letting the experience destroy you, while justified, is a choice that will ultimately rob your life. And I believe, despite the discomfort of doing something to move forward, your life is worth it. Hear that again, because I know the lies say otherwise, especially if you're a betrayed spouse. You are worth it. You have a future ahead of you that you deserve to live, like really live. And I know you're walking wounded and gutted right now, but healing is possible. Your heart does not have to stay this way. In the book of Proverbs in the Old Testament, it says this. It says, guard your heart, the center point of your life, the central part of what makes you, you. Guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Whether you're a religious person or not, this is a time-tested part of life. Your heart has been sick or shattered, and it's the thing that everything else in your life, your work, your friends, your parenting, you name it, everything flows from. No matter how much you feel the tendency to run or numb or hide or avoid the broken heart you have, your life will continue to happen with or without you. And so, what are you gonna do? This was now the question I faced after my wife shared this news with me. Over the next few months, I came to the conclusion that I didn't want to stay in this hallway forever. I needed to do something, not just about my marriage, but also about my pain and brokenness that I had seen enough to know wasn't going to go away, regardless of the outcome of my marriage. And so I made the brave choice to move forward, to understand and deal with the pain I was facing for me, and to fight for my marriage for us. And if you're a betrayed spouse, I just want to say, frankly, it sucks. You didn't choose this. They did this, left you with this pile of junk to deal with, but right or wrong, it's now left you with the choice of what to do. And whether you're choosing it for your marriage or that is off the table because it takes two to reconcile, or you're choosing it just for the individual healing you need, both are worthwhile choices to make. And so what helped me actually do something and move forward? What helped me not only face the fear and pain, but make the choice to fight, to push down the hellish hallway and start to heal? There were 3 principles, practical steps I discovered, pieces of advice that I received. The first was this: focus on what healing looks like for you. I had a mindset that kept me stuck initially from taking a step, and it was this line of thinking that said, well, at least it's not like that story, knowing of other infidelity journeys that felt far more complicated. Or should I really be this upset, or am I blowing this out of proportion? Or do I just need to man up and get over this? For some reason, I just had this narrative that because my situation wasn't like someone else's, I shouldn't be as hurt as I was. This left me spinning in circles for weeks until a friend told me this super helpful sentence. He just said this one day. He said, "The pain of betrayal is not proportional to the act committed." Let me say that again. The pain of betrayal is not proportional to the act committed. Meaning just because some other situation with someone else sounds worse, doesn't mean your pain is any less. Whether it was a one-night stand, emotional affair, physical affair, porn addiction, or something else altogether, a betrayal is a betrayal, and trust broken is trust broken. This is an attachment rupture, and our brains inherently create attachments to others, and when these attachments break from betrayal, the pain is immense regardless of what caused the rupturing. Now, there are instances where the trauma is greater because of what has happened, and the healing necessary to deal with that trauma could require more work or specified work or take longer. But regardless of your situation, your pain should not be minimized or judged because it is different than someone else's. And so where do you need to stop looking to the right or to the left and just look at what is right in front of you in your life? This was liberating for me because the more I minimized it, the less likely I was to move forward and actually deal with it. This principle truly freed me to take a step in the hallway, stop judging myself, and just be in the pain and the hurt, focus on me, my wife, my marriage, my situation. Comparison isn't helpful. Whether it is your situation isn't as bad or it's far worse, comparison still holds you back from action because it keeps you in a victim mindset. It keeps you from being able to give compassion to yourself. You have to fix your eyes on your journey and what healing looks like for you. The second piece of advice I received was this: get in your bunker. This is just the way it was said to me, but the idea behind it was to very intentionally create the time and space within your life to do the work necessary to heal. My wife and I actually decided to move, not far away, not to run, but to a place that became what we called our bunker. This little apartment we had was one of those that you open the door and you go right up the stairs. And it was small, tucked away back in a corner with trees all around, and it felt like it was our bunker to heal. And this was our space. And then we also had to find the time. And so we gave ourselves the grace to fit a few commitments in our life that didn't make sense to us in this season. They forced us to be in environments pretending like things were normal, and it just wasn't helpful. And so we quit a few things. Not completely disconnecting, but just enough to give ourselves the time needed to actually take our EMS course at a Fair Recovery and have the margin to look inward and do this work. We experienced some incredibly difficult moments and immensely healing ones as well. Individually, I look back on that bunker-like space, and I remember it being a space where I pursued and truly met with God. And not that I had some strange audible voice moment, but where I just had the stillness and quietness in my life to truly go to Him in a way I never had prior. To be mad at Him, to grieve, to be open and honest with Him from a new place of vulnerability, and ultimately invite Him into my life. In doing so, I experienced His love, His compassion, His presence at a level I wasn't even aware existed. This might need to be where you start. Where is your bunker? Do you have intentional time and space in your life to heal? And if you don't, this lack of intentionally choosing a time and space is choosing to stay stuck, because healing doesn't happen on accident. So where on your calendar do you need to block off the time to consume content, read, journal, process, or pray, or even take one of our Fair Recovery courses that provides you the pathway for you to heal individually or together? Where in your life can you go? A trail, a coffee shop, a space in your home, maybe a vacation solo or together where you can get away from the normal life demands and responsibilities. The last principle is not a piece of advice, but just an observation as to what was the single greatest contributor to us coming out of this stronger on the other side. It's that no one heals alone. Some details surrounding the infidelity came out on that first day, and Then I learned a little bit more on another day, discovery day number 2, D-Day number 2, not too long after. But this was a new level of detail that honestly shattered me. I was eventually able to have a sliver of hope after the first day, but the second one left me genuinely unsure of what the future held. I called a friend of mine who had been a resource during this season, whose marriage had gone through their own season of recovering from an affair, and I told him what had happened, and he met me at a coffee shop, and us 2 grown men just sat there in that public place and cried. I honestly don't remember anything else he said. All I remember is him crying and sitting with me. It was me experiencing what I now know is called emotional baseline theory or social baseline theory. It's this idea that humans are wired to connect with each other, to live in proximity with one another, to face adversity together, that we're all carrying various things in our life, responsibilities, pressures, decisions we make, hopes and dreams, and some of these are our own and others are things that we carry because of others' actions in our life. Carrying the pain of infidelity completely by yourself will most likely cause you to be stuck in the hallway forever. You weren't meant to carry this pain alone because no one heals alone. When my friend sat with me in that moment and cried, and in many other moments afterwards, he carried this weight with me. He stepped into the hallway with me, and it gave me a deeply meaningful sense that I was not alone. We all need this, and I know the fact that I had someone else in my life who could walk through this with me is rare. It's more the exception than the rule. This is why our courses at Affair Recovery are designed so intentionally to give you a group of people to carry this with you. It's not just the content you consume. Information is helpful, yes, but it isn't enough to get you through this. You need others to journey with you. And who better than those who truly get it and can empathize with the pain that you're facing? Perhaps that is what you need to do to start today. It's not an exaggeration to say that this friendship and the other relationships I had through EMS Online were the greatest factors in my individual healing and the recovery of my marriage. Fast forward 8 years back to today. My wife and I are coming up on our 10th anniversary. We have 3 incredible boys. We have a deep, meaningful friendship that I wouldn't trade for the world. And I look back on all of it, and I can say with confidence that no, those circumstances were not good, but God did something very good through it. And there is a level to which I enjoy my marriage, my children, my life to a degree that I would not be able to otherwise had I not gone through this hallway of recovery. I wouldn't wish this on anybody, and I wouldn't choose it. But as insane as it sounds, I also wouldn't change it. It's made me who I am today, brought me closer to my wife, and closer to God. This was just the start of my journey on the hallway. There were so many other pieces within it that I'm gonna hope to share with you in the future. I'm sitting here today sharing this because I believe this can happen for you as well if you're willing to start. But the question remains, what are you going to do?